Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you're listening. This is the Chosen Life podcast. I'm your host, the Chosen Lawyer. Today, we have a very special guest, consistently voted by his peers as the sexiest man in law, Willard. Don't call me Will, but sometimes you can. Ramjass. Will Ramjass, welcome to the Chosen Life.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, John. Nice to be on your podcast, man. I've listened to your podcasts since you started doing them. I love them. I think you're a natural, and it's just a pleasure for me on a Saturday morning to be here with you, bro.
I really appreciate that. We pre-tape them sometimes, depending on schedule, and I find on the weekends, it's much easier for a lot of people to make the time, to sit and converse. They don't want people, rushing to work, rushing back from work. And on that point, Will, I'm going to mention, my producer gets on me on this all the time. Wherever you are, as a listener right now, if you're watching on YouTube, listening on your podcast player, it's very, very important. You're enjoying the content. You're like, I want more of this. I need more of this in my life. You need to do something very simple for me now. You just need to go and hit that subscribe button immediately. You want to hit that bell. You want to be notified the second that it drops. Our new episodes on The Chosen Life, they drop every Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern. If you're busy, you're forgetting that for a second, you want to get notified and put those comments in. You're going to hear Will today. We're going to talk about a lot of fun topics, nothing crazy business as far as, putting you to sleep. We're actually going to talk a lot of fun topics today, but to hear the content consistently, leave those comments for the guest, for myself, the Chosen Lawyer. I personally do write back to people, and I have a lot of fun with the people. They don't know it's me, but it is me. So love the audience interaction. So please hit that subscribe button. So Will, believe it or not, my friend, we have known each other for 20 years. Can you believe it?
I can believe it. I was just thinking about that too. I was doing the math on this before I came on. I'm like, I've known John since you were an articling student when I met you, man. It's amazing how time goes by.
Wrong. So, well,
all right, you were seconded.
I was seconded.
That's right. You were seconded. But you were in what, first year, right?
I was a first-year associate. Right, so the story goes like this. I was an articling student back in 2001. My first articling assignment, I was a big Bay Street law firm in Toronto, Canada. And they sent me on my first secondment on September 11th, 2001. They sent me to the tax library to do some research. Shockingly, on a Monday, nobody is in the tax library. And as I'm going down in the elevator, it says there is an accident in New York City, details to follow. So I'm like, okay, I hope everybody's okay. So I go down to the tax library, do my tax research. I come out of the tax. So I leave there about 9 a.m. I'm at 9:30 in the tax library. Okay. I leave the tax library about 12:30 p.m. I walk outside. I'm in the deepest of downtown Toronto, Canada. There is not a single car. And I said to myself, oh my, Armageddon is broken out. What the heck is going on? Where's everybody? There's no one to be found. I'm like, did the world end while I was in the tax library? And I'm walking. And then there's a giant TV screen on one of the buildings. And sure enough, we find out about the accident and what happened in New York City that day. And life was never the same. So my law career started with September 11th. So why am I telling you this? Because I was one of the few that was lucky to get hired back at the time. After September 11th, the economy in the world in general was a little difficult. It was not so easy to get a law job. I got one. I was very excited. And I was supposed to start at my new job, same law firm, but from an articling student to an associate. And about a week or two out, they messaged me and they said, just so you know, we have need to send you over to Tim Hortons. For all of you that know Tim Hortons, purveyor of coffee, donuts, food, etc. The lineups in Toronto are huge and surrounding areas, and I know they're becoming worldwide. So, Tim's. So they're saying, you're going to go over to Tim's. You're going to be there for about maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We need you to help reorganize us a little bit. So I'm like, cool. All right, I'll go to Tim Hortons, no problem. And then I'm excited I'll come to my associate job. 2 to 3 weeks turned into 9 months. I lived at Tim Hortons. So Will and I got to work together for almost a year. He was already a pretty big wig over there. And that's how we met. So I was a first-year associate. You were already in the Tim Hortons chain, and we'll talk about that. But currently, you're the director and assistant general counsel to McDonald's Canada. A pretty impressive title, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, look, it's you never know where your career is going to take you. We met at Tim Hortons, and prior to Tim Hortons, I'd been in private practice. Geez, for what, maybe 7 years, and then I left private practice to go in-house. So you got me when it was literally my first year of in-house practice. So I was learning stuff the same as you were in terms of how it was to function at Timmy's there.
That's so funny because when I thought you were a seasoned veteran, honestly, like having worked with you, like, I don't know, man, maybe you were faking it till you're making it, but like you gave off the aura that you knew you were talking about. And, your career, we'll talk about your progression later because people want to jump into the fun topics first, always. But I will ask one question. You're the counsel to one of the biggest, most best-known businessmen in the world, Mr. Ronald McDonald himself. Tell us,
I met him.
What's Ronald really like?
Listen, I met Ronald. He's fantastic, and look, I've been at McDonald's for many years now. Like you say, it's a fun brand. It's a great place to work. Love it. The people there are great. Everything about the brand is fun, just like Ronald. And a funny story. I think I must have been in my first year at McDonald's, and having lunch downstairs, and Ronald pops by. Like, seriously, he pops by and just sits down and starts talking to me in Toronto. And I was like blown away because my first year there, it was amazing. And he's just as funny as you see him on TV when you see him.
7
you don't see him too often anymore.
Is he like 7 feet, 8 feet tall? How tall is Ronald McDonald?
He's a tall guy. He's a tall guy. He's a tall guy.
I got one beef though, because as a kid growing up, some people they idolize sports athletes, they idolize, politician. I was a big fan of Sheriff McCheese, the Hamburglar, Grimace. I loved those characters, man, and they were a lot of fun. We used to get the toys and everything else, and hacked it out. You remember them on the commercials, and just if you can let Ronald know we missed them, and bring him back, please. Because that's the fun times. That's the golden era of McDonald's, in my opinion.
I agree, Matt. I think the biggest question I get all the time is, who's my favorite McDonald's character?
Yes.
And the same thing you just asked, like, when are we going to bring him back? And I don't know if you've seen the latest Raptors commercial with the Raptor and Grimace, but yeah, I mean, you have not. You go check it out. It's running right now. The Raptors McDonald's collab, and Grimace is in there. So check it out.
I'm too busy watching Power and Top Boy. This is I'm watching these badass programs, and they don't put any McDonald's commercials on there. On Netflix, on
I know,
on Crave TV. So okay, good to know. So Grimace is starting to appear back.
Grimace on TV, yeah, man.
How's he looking, Grimace, these days? Is he on the treadmill a bit? Is he lifting some iron?
He's looking vintage. He's looking vintage.
Looking vintage.
Yeah.
He's OG,
you like
baby.
It. You like it. He's OG. He's OG for sure.
So speaking of OG, transitioning into our first topic today, we agreed we're gonna make some real fun talks. By the way, I love the man cave. Looks amazing there.
Thank you, sir. And look, this sick tea goes just with it, eh? Like, I love it.
So people are gonna ask, how does he get the merch? We don't understand. So you got to understand, I go down the street, people stop and like, hey, you're the chosen lawyer guy. The celebrities, Buff Bagwell, Will Ramjass. How did these guys get the teas and we don't? So the conversation came up that Will and I were talking. Turns out Will is a fan of the podcast. I did not pay him to say that. And he is an active listener. He loves all the aspects of life, being wrestling, boxing, organization, productivity, making money. You'll never know what we're going to talk about. He's like, buddy, I need one of those shirts in my life. So I said to him, we are working on the merchandising. It is going to happen. But as luck will behold it, I do have a few extras that I ordered. So if you ever watch the show, as far as keep an eye on the shirts I'm wearing, you'll notice I wear a different color every single week. Yes, I have about 25, 30 different colors. I do put on a different color every episode just to fool all of you. So watch out. You never know what color I'm going to wear next. But Will asked for traditional, badass black. So I said, Will, see what I can make happen. What size are you? And Will said, I need a schmedium. So I looked up. I'm like, I don't have a small, I have a medium, but I got a schmedium. So let's put the schmedium on. Will, as Buff Bagwell would say, that shirt is melting off your buddy. Look at that. Jeez.
Thanks for the swag, man. I appreciate it. Fits good. I'm going to wear this all day today. So, I'll be out in public. Don't worry.
I'll say, man, this is not like $5 tee, man. This is like Heather material. This is the good stuff. This is the kind of stuff Ric Flair wears, man, to conventions. You know? So we don't
No
fool
doubt.
around.
No doubt. No doubt.
So when you're wearing your swag, right? You're wearing your chosen lawyer tee. What you gonna wear on your feet? That's very important. So Will and I are both sneakerheads, and today we're gonna be discussing some of our favorite sneakers. So people know that I'm the Jordan 1 lawyer. I'm always spotted in Jordan 1s or Jordan 1 looking type shoes, occasionally in Air Force One. Will, what is your shoe of choice and why?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, I'm an AJ1 guy, and I'll tell you, you were a little bit inspirational to me. So I'm gonna give you some serious credit here, because I think one day we went out for dinner or lunch, and it was after work, and I'm in my corporate gear, and you stroll in with a pair of AJ1s on, and I was like, no, this man did not go to work like this. And I gotta tell you, that was like, okay, this guy has some serious swag going on, hopping in the office with a pair of AJ1s. And honestly, at that point, I was like, okay, this guy knows something I don't. And I re-engaged my love for AJ1s there. And I'm gonna tell you, oh my God, I must have like, and I know it probably is nowhere close to your collection, but I think I may have like 15, 16 pairs of AJ1s, man. All different colorways, all different years, like, but yeah, I go out when I'm in like weekends, a pair of jeans, some jogging pants. They look great in jogging pants. And even summer, I'll just rock the AJ1s with like shorts and stuff. And I love them. Comfy shoes, and just, with all the variety, you can pick any outfit and you're good to go.
I love the AJ1s. I think there's nothing sexier than wearing a pair of AJ1s. They go with jeans, they go with suits, go with tuxedos, shorts, anything you want. You can rock the AJ1s. Please do not wear them with knee-high socks. We need to wear the ankle socks. And I like the ankle socks per se. I like to throw a little bit of sock action. I don't want to have like a disappearing sock. But a guy asked me the other day, he comes up to me, he goes to me, Chosen, tell me this. I want to have a pair of Jordans. So can I just go to the store and buy a pair of Jordans? Like Jordan 1s. I want to own Jordan 1s. Can I get Jordan 1s right now? I said, absolutely, you can get Jordan 1s. But you got to be very careful on this, because there's levels. In everything in life, there's levels. Like you want to go to the Mercedes dealership, go get, A, B, C, follow the letters of the alphabet, right? But there's a big difference between the entry level versus, the big boy. And I said to him, look, you got to be very careful with this, because if you're going lows, please do not touch a Jordan 1. I don't care that people are wearing them right now, enjoying them, and all the power to them. If you're wearing them, I love it. Congrats to you. But when you're a hardcore sneakerhead like us, we can't be wearing the lows. I'm sorry. And if you're going lows, if you're going lows, you're going Air Force Ones, in my opinion, to start.
Okay, so look, I'm gonna be honest. I have all ranges. I have highs, mids, and lows. Okay. Right? I have highs, mids, and lows. And again, it's versatile, right? Because you can. I have a nice pair of beautiful, the All-Star black lows that I picked up last year, shiny. Yes. I love them. Like, I love those lows. I put those on with black jeans. They look totally sick.
It's fun. But if you're going to, let's say, a business dinner, or you're going down the mall,
you can't.
No one's gonna question what be it. But if you're going to, like, I don't know, like you're going to like to a rock concert, you're going to a sneaker convention, you're going to like a drop at OVO, you got to watch what you're wearing, because when the real sneakerheads are out, they're all watching what's on your feet, and they're like, they give that a look, Now when you got mids, there are some mids in my mind that are acceptable, because there are mids that have like different looks, then they put a different tongue on them. Like I almost ruined the game. They do that. They got the Luka Doncic ones. They do some nice things with mids. I'm okay with it. It depends. And some mids are almost like highs, and some highs are almost like mids, the way they set up. That's fine. But if we're going to start with Jordan 1s, we need the high OGs in our lives. We need that Nike tag on there. We need the Nike tag, not the Jordan Jumpman. That's starting off number one. If we're going to Jordan 1s, we're going to start off with the high OGs. So if you're going to go to the Jordan store and you're going to go drop, whatever, 150, 180 US, we're in Canada here, so we pay like 230 Canadian plus, our sales tax is like 80%. So whatever we're paying. But you got to watch it, because when you're going to drop the money, people are going to say, that's what they bought. Like if the stuff's sitting on the shelves for like 2 months, it's funny, when they're sitting on the shelves, nobody wants them. And as soon as they're sold out, then everybody wants them, People are very finicky this way. So I said to them always, this person when they said it to me. You gotta watch. You gotta know what's trending, what's hot, and I'd rather wait and get the right pair than just slap any pair on your feet and not get the respect of the sneaker community, in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree, and just to tell you, like, I scour for drops, right? Like, I'm on the Nike app. I'm looking to see, when stuff's dropping, how I can get it. I honestly, I wish, we had the Nike sneaker app up in Canada, which we don't, unfortunately. Yeah, it's pretty sad. So, you start you're hunting, right? You're hunting at that point. I was like, lucky. Sometimes you're good enough to get, like on the drop, you can go and get your size. If you miss that, like by half hour, you're out of luck.
You're done.
Yeah, there's none. And actually, I've had a lot of luck at like the Nike flagship at Yorkdale. They actually stock some stuff which I was shocked that you could just go in and get a size on.
Right.
The Nike store at Yorkdale, I think, has been good too. I've gone in there and found stuff that I was like, wow, I thought this was sold out. Like, I bought a pair of Jordans there, like, oh my gosh, maybe about 6 months ago, and they were sold out everywhere. And I ended up going there and getting my size. And I was looking to actually pick that pair up on StockX, and I went in there and I bought it at retail, which I was like super happy about.
You never know what you're gonna find, especially online. So you're a StockX guy. Do you do GOAT as well?
I do. I kind of check out, what's trending, and if you can get a good deal, but like my size, I wear 9.5, 10, and those are like the hottest sizes, right?
Oh, you wear both?
Yeah, I can. I'm somewhere right in the middle there, right? So I can take a 9.5 or I can take a 10, no problem. If I get the colorways I want, I'll do it, and I can only get a 10.5. I'll wear a 10.5.
Yeah, I'm a size 10, man. I'm a size 10 all day, every day since high school, and I only wear size 10. I'll tell fans of the show, if you ever got a size 10 Jordan that you're really bored of and you want to donate it to the show, by all means, write to me. I'll be happy to accept the donations. I've never said no to a Jordan 1.
And you know what? I've seen you, and you were talking about the Nike women's, right?
Yes.
And the sizings between the men and women. I'm going to tell you that some of the Nike women's Jordans are amazing, like unbelievable. Absolutely. And I jump in there, and I try to get like an 11 and see, because the colorways they do on the women's AJ1s are phenomenal. Like, I love them.
But I'm not talking about when you're talking about that, not the ones with the weird laces set up. Like, they look like a traditional Jordan 1. Totally. If everything else, if I told you they're a men's Jordan 1, you would say yes. The only thing is they made them in women's sizing to appeal to all market, which is great. I heavily support that, gender equality in Jordans, and everybody should be able to wear the same Jordan 1s. But then, as men, we just have to look at the sizing. So I'm a 10, I'm going to buy 11.5. That's it, done. But in Canada, we don't always get that sizing. So now we got to go to the States to find it. And you know what? I'm not afraid to buy them used off GOAT. I don't care. They're all cleaned up. It's fine. Yeah. Once you wear them once, it's fine. They're used anyways. So whatever we got to do to find them, we find them. Now, Will, did you bring a pair today for show and tell?
Yeah. Listen, I brought a couple of pairs. And, all right. And I brought this one because I think this one I'm going to wear today with the chosen.
So, when you have a person walking down to the wrestling ring, the boxing ring, right? So always the champ comes in last. So the challenger comes first. So
well, I brought a mid and a high for you here. So I'll show you this.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this one. I love this one.
Okay. Tell us about this one, my friend.
So actually I bought this one used. This is actually a 10. This is actually a 10.
Okay.
Yeah, right. And I love this.
That is a mid.
It's a mid. And I love this one because it's understated, right? You have the nice, kind of red outline piping there. Let me get that up there.
That is beautiful.
You can wear this. Look how good this would look with this tee, right?
That is hot. Yes.
And then you can wear this with shorts, pair of jeans, but again, understated. Just I like that. I like that in a shoe. So look, I know I got a whole bunch, which is, the white, kind of hard to wear during winter sometimes because the thing gets mucked up. But yeah, this is one of my go-to shoes for formal and casual.
It can do both. And I can tell you in the wintertime, man, my good ones never see the light of day until the salt is put away and my winter jacket's off. My good ones don't see the light of day. So that is the contender number one. Let's see contender number two.
So contender number two is a little bit different, man. A lot of people have had some negative reviews and responses to this, but when this colorway came out, I love this shoe. And actually, I think because people didn't like it is why I got a pair of these. But these are my other ones, man. Like,
I love those.
Yeah, like
Yes,
it's
I
got
don't have them.
the burnished sort of bronze on it.
Yes,
It's got the suede in the back.
that's
with
the
the patent
what do they call them? The patinas?
patina. Yeah, the patina.
Patinas.
Right. And again, it's this stands out when you put it on, right? It's still kind of, with the black and the bronze there. You can wear this with a set of gray jeans.
Yes.
It looks
Black
real good.
pants.
Black pants, jeans. It looks real good. So yeah, but the thing is, this one you're not wearing this in winter because of the suede and
the suede's gonna kill it.
Front. Yeah.
The executive producer of our show, he's rocking those, and he
No kidding.
Yeah, he has got them. He's got them.
I love these. I love these. And I, when I was looking at reviews and stuff on
Let's see
YouTube,
the soles on those, Will. Okay, they went neutral black, beautiful.
Yeah, neutral black.
Nice.
And a lot of the reviewers were like, I don't like the colorways, don't, not for me. And some of the younger crowd, may not like that. I like, again, a little bit more kind of understated, versatile shoe.
See, the thing about Jordan 1s in general, I think they're dropping too many. I think they're doing it for way too long. They're milking the thing too much. We got 34 series now with them, 35, whatever we're at.
Yeah.
And there's different sizes, low, mid, highs. We got so much stuff dropping, people all over the 3s, the 11s. Let's just stop with so much Jordan 1s. Let's make it a little more exclusive again, please. You don't want to end this thing, you don't want to make it into like a pair of Crocs. But like at the end of the day, even though Crocs came back, I know. But at the end of the day, I think there should be a little more exclusivity to it. And I wish, but I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon because there's still the demand, so people are buying them.
Well, you can't get them; they're sold out all the time. So until people say I'm tired of this, or I it's too repetitive, Nike's gonna sell them. Like, can't go wrong.
So I feel really bad now. I love the shoes. First of all, I love the choices you did. I didn't know what you're gonna go with. I wanted to go with something unique. But buddy,
what'd you go with? Like a Travis Scott? Like, what'd you bring here? Like,
I feel so bad. I feel so bad.
What'd you bring out,
bro? This is like Roman Reigns coming out to like Barry Horowitz and wrestling. This is just not even fair. So the reason I bring up the ones I did is because my executive producer also is in Schulich, and he had a birthday recently. I'm like, I gotta celebrate this thing because like we've been rocking up at the Chosen Life. We had our first episode that broke a ton of views. We broke 100K views. That was a big accomplishment for us.
On that, man. That's awesome.
And it's still climbing. Our boy Buff Bagwell, he's our horse and he's leading us to glory. And the subscriber count, and I do notice every day, and like by the hour, by the day, we're climbing like mad. So really appreciate the mad props from everyone. So to celebrate it, I bought him a special pair. And I already had this pair. I bought it. It's one of the only pairs I ever bought as a pre-release before they even came out to the market. This is one of the hottest ever Jordan 1s made. You'll probably never see them like this again. I'm going to stop hyping it up. I'm just going to show it to you.
Oh, what? You see, you want to crush me with the with your rare, like, come on, man. Like,
I'm so sorry.
I'm buying stuff off the shelf, right? I'm buying stuff off the shelf.
Sorry.
Look what you're doing here. This is not fair, man.
I remember on episode 1 of Buff when he was on, and he says, "Do not adjust your TV screen. I'm this good looking." Yes, these shoes are this good looking. I'm so sorry. Virgil, God rest his soul, Virgil Abloh. From Off-White, he did the collab with Jordans. The first one was a Chicago colorway, then the UNCs. These were the second ones. So the first one was the Chicago's. Look at that, the construction. It is just, it's just sick. It's just sick, buddy.
Now you wear those, right? You wear those, or you just display those? Let me ask you a question.
So in order to fully understand this thing, okay.
Yeah,
so these shoes. So when you own a pair of these, okay, let's get it up. So, no one wants to see me. Let's just keep it going like this. When you are fortunate enough to own a work of art, this is not even a pair of shoes. This is a work of art. This is how we do it. We check the weather report. We make sure the weather is perfect all day. There'll be no rain. There'll be no snow. There'll be nothing.
Yeah.
You jump in your car. You're wearing either slides or a pair of beater shoes. This is in its box. It's standing up nicely. When you park the car, Then you come out, sit in the back seat, you take off your slides, you put these shoes on, you lace them carefully. Then you go walk about your day. You're watching in front of you for potholes, whatever you got to do. You do wear them. When it's time to go home, go back in the back seat, take the shoes off, back in the box. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So these are
See,
the
look
UNC.
at the swoosh on that too, right? Look at the swoosh on that. Like I love it, man. What a design.
So for the haters out there, and there are them, unfortunately, like, I don't get it, not a big deal. You know what? Virgil really went to town on these shoes. Like, just the construction, like, you feel like you're wearing a cloud. These are not traditional Jordan 1s. These are new, whatever materials he used for construction. It's light, it's fluffy. You feel like you're walking a cloud. It is the most comfortable pair of Jordans I've ever put on in my life. And for those investors out there, go look on StockX and go look at the Chicagos. You know, easy 5K. These ones, you know, around 2K, give or take where they're at. If you buy them used, you might get a deal. Buy them now. If you have the money and the means, don't go use your rent money on these. But if you have the money, you're debating about buying a couple pairs, 3 pairs, buy these and just lock them away. Virgil is gone. He's not come back, unfortunately. He'll be missed. You know, whatever's going to be done with Off-White in the future, it will never be Virgil, you know, unfortunately. So this is a real collector item. You must have this in your life if you can. And look at just the writing on it. Like, this is just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
I love it.
True.
I was going to buy a pair of Chicagos. I remember I was going to SneakerCon 1 in New York City. I was all set to go. They had dropped number 2 of the Chicagos. It was about $1,000. I'm like, I'm going to buy other stuff at this show. So I said, nah.
You missed out?
Nah, there's so many of them. It'll be fine. Well, 5K later, you know. Same thing. Like when I was at SneakerCon 1 in New York, they had just dropped the igloos. For those of you that are familiar at all, you got those special Miami igloos and rust pinks. And those were $1,500. I'm like, I'm not paying $1,500. They're $10K now. I should have bought them. So, you know, every pair of Jordans that I ever said I should have bought, but you know, it's too much money. I can't afford it. I should have saved up. You know, I always regret it. So you don't have to buy those. There are wicked ones that you can buy that are still very popular. You can buy them used for $100, $200, and you can rock them. People appreciate the effort, and it's more the knowledge. You know, understanding these are the UNCs. You know, these are the Rust Pinks. You know, these are the Off-Whites. These are the Travis Mochas.
Listen, I think you hit a great point there, because people want to wear these shoes, right? Like, the shoes are comfy to wear, they look great, and like you brought out like a really cool collector's pair, which you do wear, which I give you a lot of credit for, right? So some people just, it's in box, not even out of the, you know, the paper, and that's all cool, right? Because you're buying it for an investment. And you know, when you get into the sneakerheads and you see how the prices of these shoes have gone up year over year, like, a lot of people buy them, collect them, invest in them. And for people who are kind of, you know, on the fence about this stuff, like you just said, pick up a pair for $150, man. Like, pick up a pair for $200 and just wear those. Those are your shoes that you go out with every day. The shoes that, you know, and you can still look real good. And then when you get a real true appreciation for it, and you really jump into the genre, right? You can pick up a couple of pairs that you just like. Honestly, I do have a pair of Travis Mochas, and I don't wear them. Like, I mean,
those are high. Those are high.
No, they're the high. They're the high.
Good man.
And I don't pull it out of the box. Like, I don't do anything with it. I just keep it there, right? So yeah, it's like, buy the ones that you can go to the mall with, and you got no point beating up. And
I agree. I never think of them as an investment. I wear them to enjoy them, and you know what, knowing that they're worth something great. But, you know, I agree. Don't do this as far as, you know, I'm not going to invest in stocks. I'm not going to invest in real estate. I'm going to invest in sneakers. I don't know if that's the way to go. And but the reality, as a sneaker market and as trends will come and go, the funny thing is, in my opinion, the last one standing will always be the high OG Jordan 1. And if high OG Jordan 1s are out and they're not in style anymore, style is gone completely. Then life is over as we know it. So I think it's a pretty safe bet to have those. So going on to our second topic, because we're in the theme of nostalgia. So movies, and there's a big one that is being filmed and is coming out later this year. I am super excited. It is the movie series, the franchise that started my boxing career, my inspiration. and it's Creed 3. So apparently it's under lock and key as far as what is the plot line, what's going to happen. Creed 3, I'm really, really jazzed for it. Will, how did you enjoy Creed 1 and Creed 2?
Listen, I enjoy that because look, I'm an OG guy too, right? So I'm a original Rocky guy, and like when I was growing up, and I won't date myself as to how old I am, but
we're brothers from different mothers, you and I. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So listen, my biggest days were when Rocky, not Rocky 1, I'm talking more Rocky 3, 4, right? I love those movies, and those are the original Creed, the original Mr. T, Drago, those were awesome movies. And actually, I was never sold, and I'll be honest with you, when these sequels came out, like over the last few years, I was like, nah. I think they're just trying to milk the whole Rocky genre. I did not go see it. I was just like,
me too.
And then I think I must have been on a plane where I saw the thing for free. Like I was just like, okay, let me look at this. I got like 2 hours to kill. And I was like, this is actually a good movie, man. Like Creed and Creed 2. Michael B. Jordan, like that guy was amazing. That guy was ripped. I thought the movie was excellent. And again, I've always been a boxing fan. And I know we could kind of segue a little bit too. I'm getting into UFC, I'm getting into mixed martial arts. I think, again, I didn't pay it the kind of respect when the thing first came out, because I've been a traditional, the boxing skill set. You took boxing lessons, I've taken boxing lessons, in terms of, just the mentality of being a boxer.
It's called boxing training. When you're at that level, it's called boxing training, my friend. Yeah,
it is. And when you get the idea of just the art form of boxing and the defensive style of boxing, and then you start going back and looking at the old fighters, right? You go back and you look at obviously a Muhammad Ali versus a Tyson, and you see the different styles. I love boxing, and frankly, these last Creed movies were excellent boxing movies. They were excellent boxing movies. So look, I'm looking forward to this new one that's coming out. I don't know who's playing. Who do you know who's playing?
So I did my research. So they're still not going there as far as telling us that it's going to be the Mr. T movie, and though we all feel it in our hearts.
Yeah, it's got to be, eh?
It's got to be. It's got to be. Please, I'm praying to the Creed gods. Please bring me Mr. T. Like Mr. T revolutionized my life. Like I was like this 7-year-old, 8-year-old, little Jewish boy with my Jewish.
Were you watching A-Team? Were you watching A-Team?
I started off, I was A-Team, yes, but my poster on my wall was Mr. T with the gold chains. Yeah. And I looked at that poster every morning. And when I was like in grade 3, in all seriousness, they said, what do you want to be when you grow up, Jonathan? You want to be a doctor, lawyer? I want to be Mr. T. That's what and you know what? I did. So I love Mr. T. And I loved A-Team. I loved Rocky, watching him, Clubber Lang. I always wanted to be Clubber Lang. When I was doing my boxing training, I go to my trainer. I was watching some Clubber Lang highlights, and goosh, goosh, goosh. And he says to me, stop watching that. That's not good technique. I go, but he almost took off Rocky's head. I love that stuff. I love it, love it, love it. So they got to bring Mr. T back. So Jonathan Majors, that is the confirmed actor that is going to be a cross from Michael B. Jordan. And go put the side-by-side silhouette with him, Mr. T. It's gonna be, come on. It only makes sense, please. And Mr. T has come out and said, I don't know if I'm feeling it. I don't know if I should be. I don't want to do this. I'm not sure.
Typical pre-promotion stuff there.
They're being all coy about it. So funny enough, I also did not watch the Creed movies. I'm a purist. I'm all about Clubber Lang and Drago. Don't be talking about no Creed and all this. Yeah. And I was on a flight to LA, had a lot of time on my hands. So I'm like, all right, I'll watch Creed. True story. I will admit this now on the air. For the millions of listening to this, I cried during both Creeds. I swear. I had tears running down my eyes. And when I got to LA that first afternoon, I ran to the boxing store. I bought a pair of gloves because I didn't bring any with me. And I went and signed up for training while I was in LA because I was so inspired by Creed. I'm like, this is awesome. I love it. Creed was amazing. I can
It
watch that
was.
stuff all day long. Michael B. Jordan was amazing in the role.
Yeah.
He's stepping into the director chair for Creed
Ah,
3.
I did not know that. Did
And
not
Mr.
know that.
Stallone is off to go hawk some Panerais and some merch. So he is very busy. So he
Right.
cannot make the time to be in Creed 3, apparently, which is fine. So Rocky's gone off to the sunset. And then we're focusing on Creed. And they're saying, you know, we don't want to take away from the Creed franchise. Yet you just did Drago. So you're going to have to do Mr. T, folks. I'm really sorry to break it to you.
I think so. I think you're right. I think you're right. And I hope, you know, the younger generation kind of gets an appreciation for the boxing art form. Boxing is just kind of second fiddle now, right? There's no one good in the heavyweight division. You know, there's no one really good in the middleweight division, and everybody's like, you know, UFC is king now, right? UFC is king, and I won't lie, UFC is skilled, entertaining, you know, but you know, I wish there was more.
I will correct you. And Canelo is still like an art form to watch. Canelo is Saul Canelo is a great boxer. Real fun to watch in my opinion. You know, they're talking about another Triple G matchup with him. So there are guys out there clearly, but you know, even Lomachenko lost. You know, and the guys that we think are the greatest boxers right now, it's a weird spot, and it's because, you know, is there talent there? Are they promoting them right? People are not having that love of boxing the way UFC took over. And I feel like there's this niche right now because, you know, even in wrestling right now, you know, WWE, I think, is trying to flush it down the toilet. So you got all these wrestling fans, you know, and these boxing fans, and they're full of testosterone, and they're looking for something to pay their money and watch, and they're all heading over to UFC. So I hope boxing capitalizes that and brings out bigger talent and everything. But I want to trace it back to Mr. T because, you know, for that young generation, like, who's Mr. T? Who is Mr. T? Mr. T is an icon. He's a art form. He's one of the greatest actors, human beings on the face of the planet, you know, and it's amazing. I invited him to come on The Chosen Life. Have not heard back yet. Still holding out hope. I remember when the Toys R Us opened up down the street from me back in the day, and that was the big thing back in 87. I'm outdating myself a little bit, but I was around 87 or so, maybe 86. And Mr. T was appearing at the opening of the Toys R Us. And I said to my dad, can I go meet Mr. T? And he's like, yeah, we'll go. And every hour I'm like, can we go? He's there. He's like, we'll go a little later. He never took me to see Mr. T.
Sucks,
I lost. Never got to meet Mr. T.
That sucks.
Before I leave this earth, I have to meet Mr. T. It's really, really important. So Mr. T, if you're listening, please, buddy, we need you on. It's very important because the new generation need to experience you. You know, Will, do you know how he got the gold chains? Have you ever heard the story?
Oh, no.
So Mr. T, you know, had the mohawk.
Yeah.
He was as badass as they come, right? And he had all those gold chains. So Mr. T got discovered as a bouncer in Chicago, as the folklore goes.
Okay.
And every time he broke up a fight and a gold chain ripped, he put it on his neck. And apparently that's how Mr. T accumulated the gold chains.
Well, listen, if that's true, that is an awesome story. And I want to go back to something you just said there.
Yes.
Like, and again, without dating myself, but
Please.
Mr. T
was
the biggest thing in the 80s, man. Like I you know, I don't know what we could compare it to. You can compare it to you know, Conor McGregor and some of these guys. But Mr. T was the global dude in the 80s. Like, I mean, there was not a bigger icon in the 80s than Mr. T. And that gold chain revolution, that guy revolutionized fashion when he rocked the gold chains, man. And you know, back then was the early days of hip hop and rap, and everybody was coming out with the gold chain. Mr. T led the way in that whole style revolution.
Yes.
But just in terms of a big man, a big dude, an athletic guy who was on TV and in movies, Mr. T had an iconic, and still does, persona. That was the biggest thing in the decade of the 80s, man. Like, people don't know, like you and I was a kid in the 80s too. He was the dude. And
the amazing thing of it, when you think back, because look at now, you know, when you have these heroes and they're rapping and everything else, they're talking about drug use and guns and saying derogatory terms to cultures and genders, you know, and there's negativity and hate. You never heard
No, ever.
one word like that out of Mr. T's mouth. He made it very clear. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't use drugs. Stay in school.
Swear.
Get an education. He looked so badass with his mohawk. He was such a tough exterior. In A-Team, this TV show, he was like pummeling guys. In Rocky, as Clubber Lang, he was pummeling guys. But it was soft-spoken. Everywhere he went and spoke, he always spoke positive messages. He was a positive role model. He was part of the Reagan administration in the U.S. at the time, the president of the United States, as far as education and bringing positivity. And the world needs more Mr. T's now. You know, somebody that does reach out to the younger generation, is a cool figure, but spreads good messages, wholesome messages. We need that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, and I think you bang on. He was, and also as an African American in the '80s doing this.
Yes.
You know, anti-drugs, no swearing. You know, wholesome actor. Yeah, that was again. There was nobody else in the '80s doing that stuff, and unfortunately, I don't think there's anybody out there now that's really iconic like that.
So that's where I'm thinking, if we can bring him on, Creed, you know, and spread the Mr. T message and the way, you know,
I'm hoping you get this guy, man. This will be the blow up podcast for you. That would be awesome.
I'll tell you, Buff Bagwell's already blown up. He's a really well-known wrestler and a great guy. Actually, he's become a really good friend to me, and, you know, seeing what he's doing. We are talking to a few people. We do have some people lined up that I can't talk about yet, but there are some pretty big wigs that are headed up the food chain. So we got a lot of scheduling going on. So you got to stay tuned. You will be shocked and surprised and amazed as to who's coming, because you never know who we're going to pull out here on The Chosen Life. So thank you. So moving from Creed 3 and still talking about, it's funny how all these, you know, topics kind of tie in. We're talking about OG shoes and OG movies. Now we're talking about the blowing up market as far as collecting, memorabilia, all that good stuff. You know, one of the things I was going to say when you brought up sneakers, as far as how we're wearing them and how to think about them, I used to collect all sorts of stuff. I used to collect autographs. I used to collect sports cards. I used to collect G.I. Joe figures. Now, at my age, I decided if I can't wear it, if I can't use it, if it serves no purpose other than just having it, I am not going to keep it. That's just the way it is. I don't want to just clutter. I like minimalism. That's me. But there's so much out there to collect. So what's going on right now in the market, Will? Like, you're a big comic book guy, and I want to talk about that. But, like, you know, both of us love sports cards. NFTs are really big. What the heck has been going on in the collector market?
Yeah. So, you know, when we were talking about topics, like I'm a huge comic book collector, and I've been that because, to be 100% honest, comic books taught me how to read. Like I was reading comics when I was 7, 8 years old. You know, you start reading, you know, a huge Batman guy. And I just kept the books, right? Like, I mean, I started to have such a love of the characters, and I kept the books, not knowing that, you know, all these decades later, these books would be worth anything. But I have a huge collection. I still buy these books today, and I buy them for a different reason, because comic books have evolved from being what they were in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, which were, you know, pretty light fare, pretty campy fare, you know, Super Friends, that type of thing. There was not a lot of dark stuff. In the 90s and early 2000s, comic books turned dark. And the writing became very sophisticated, because what happened was they followed the age demographic of the people who were buying these comics. And the comic book prices were no longer 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents. Comic books became $3, $4, $5 for a book. And as they followed the maturity of the reader, the topics, the artwork, the themes, even the characters themselves shifted into this very dark adult genre of comics. And if you saw the latest Batman movie, I mean, that is a Batman Year 2 movie. And if you read the comics that kind of back that movie up, they're dark comic books, man. They're not for kids. So comics have evolved, and I think where you see the collector market going now on especially comic books, you know, kudos to Marvel and kudos to Disney, because they introduced these characters, especially Marvel, who did a great job of you know, bringing what I would consider mid-level characters, like a Doctor Strange or an Iron Man, Miss Marvel. Like those are not top, you know, those are not Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, or Spider-Man, X-Men, that kind of stuff. they did a great job. People are now getting back into the looking at the old books, Eternals, like the Eternals. It turns out I went back and looked at my collection, and I had an Eternals #1. I was like, when did I ever buy this comic book? Because nobody knew who the Eternals were, and then Marvel makes a movie, with Guardians of the Galaxy and Eternals. So anyway, the movie going folks and the great job they've done with the movies have had people now looking backwards into where these characters come from, who created these characters. And they're all from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, man. So they're 80 years old. Like some of these are 80 years old. And the books now have a real good value. And it's something that you physically have, right? The print runs back then were, 20,000 copies. So, if you have some rare book, yeah, it's going to be a collector's item for a long time.
That's incredible, man. I got to ask you 2 questions come to my mind. Number 1, how many comic books do you figure are in your collection? Ballpark.
In my collection?
Yes.
Oh, I probably easily have maybe 10,000.
Okay.
10 to 15,000. Yeah.
Do you catalog them?
I do. And actually I
like a spreadsheet?
Yeah, now there's software you can scan barcodes in, so it's pretty easy to do. And there's software there that will update your values as well. Okay. And today you can get your comics graded, right? And that's kind of how the market works now.
I was going to ask about that because I know in sports cards grading is really big, so they are big in comics as well.
Yeah, it's exactly the same concept.
Is it the same companies that are doing the grading for the comic books? Do you know?
There's really 2 big companies in the States that do all the grading.
Please, who are they?
One's Comic Book. Oh, geez, Comic Book Grading Authority, and then the other, I can't remember the other one.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
But only 2. You send your books in, you pay them a pretty much nominal cost. They take really good care of the book. They put it in the plastic. They give you a grade. And frankly, that's the way you sell your book, because collectors are now looking, is your comic graded?
Yes.
It's completely at that point legit. If you have a 9.0, very fine comic, or you have a 6 point something, values shift. And it's not like you're going to a comic book show where, the guys have the books in the plastic and you can't really tell, is there missing a page? Is it, these comic book gradings are the way the market is working now, just like the cards, just like the
but in comics, how much do they charge on grading a comic book? Ballpark.
It could be, $20, $25, which is not cheap. So you're only going to send your top-notch books in.
Yeah, you're not saying a $2 book, right?
No, exactly. And again, you get volume discounts the more comics you sell.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Or send over, if you send over a bunch, they'll give you a grading discount, and then you get your books back.
Because I was told sports cards can be much higher as far as what they're charging now, because there's just such a demand for it, and there's like a backlog of it. Do you ever get freaked out?
There's a huge backlog. Huge.
Do you ever get freaked out when you send them out as far as actually packaging them properly? And it's funny, you're sending it to get graded, but it gets damaged on the way to get graded.
I got to give the grading companies like a lot of kudos. Like they treat the books like it's their own, and they have they send the packaging for you.
Oh, they do?
Okay. Oh yeah, it's not you just sending it in FedEx. Like the packaging is sent to you. It's put into a proper container. It's either a FedEx or a UPS that goes right to their facility. You kind of could track your book. Like, I mean, it's pretty sophisticated, and there's not a lot of, I guess, risk really when you send your book in.
That's nice. It's like shipping a kidney. You think like, whoa, they're like beat the clock. Like, this thing has to be taken care of. Yeah. Your most valuable comic book. Can you share it on the air? They don't have to tell us the value, but which one is it? What's your favorite?
I'm not sure which is my highest value, but I got a couple of really, like, some of my favorite books, right? Yeah. And they're the old stuff. They're like Silver Age, which are back in the 70s, some Golden Age ones, which are back in the 60s and 50s. But for me, I'm a big first appearance guy, right? Okay. And first appearances, especially back in the 70s, where you had a lot of fringe characters, right? So for me, one of my best books is Hulk 181, which is the first appearance of Wolverine. And when Hulk 181 came out, and Wolverine, this character was there, nobody cared because Wolverine came out in a Hulk comic book, and Wolverine is now one of those iconic characters. So everybody started looking for a Hulk 181, the first appearance. So that's one of my favorite books. Another one of my favorite books is first appearance of Punisher. And Punisher came out in a Spider-Man book. So he He was
Of
like
course.
first appearance in a Spider-Man comic, and that's one of my favorite comics too. I have a range of Batman comics. Like I got pretty much every good Batman comic except for, you know, the big ones, right? Like, you know, a Detective 27, which is the first appearance of Batman, or a Batman #1. Those you're paying $1 million, $2 million for. So out of my league. But you know, I have some good old books, and I'm a collector where I don't need it to be in perfect condition. If I just have a copy, even if it's in terrible condition, I love it. Like I'll buy a book, you know, 1952. And look how old that is. I mean, 70 something years old. And just to have it in my collection, I feel good about it. So yeah, I love my old books, man. They're fun.
The way I missed out on my Jordan 1 igloos and rust pinks, do you have a comic book that you're like, I could have had that one. I was right there as my fingertips and I just didn't pull the trigger. I'm like, why did I not do that?
Yeah.
Which one's yours?
Mine is like an Iron Man #1. This was even before the Iron Man movies came out, before Marvel started making the movies. I had a chance to buy, I think, Iron Man #1. I think, you know, back then, again, Iron Man was this middle level.
Yeah, how much would that have been
right?
ballpark at the time?
Oh man, honestly, I think the guy wanted like $50 for the thing.
15 or 50?
50, like
50.
$50.
Big 50.
That's
Okay,
like,
okay.
Big 50, and it's like, nah, it's Iron Man. Yeah, nobody wants Iron Man. And
Now how much is it?
Oh, like I don't know, maybe a couple $1,000 or more, like depending on the value. Like it's like a really good, like perfect Iron Man is expensive. It's expensive.
And it's only
I missed the boat.
And
It's only going to go higher,
up.
man. Yeah, it's only going up because again, limited print runs. There's, you know, the books are who knows where they get lost there. You know, look, some of the best finds in comic books, like Action Comics #1, Detective, which all came out in the 40s, right? Are in somebody's great grandpa's box that's down in the basement somewhere, man. And you know, they're moving, they're clearing out great grandpa's old shit. And boom, they turn up one of these books and it's a $2 million book. Yep. So, you know, keep looking through those basements and those estate sales. You never know what you get when you're looking, and that's where a lot of collectors get good stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now you and I both being lawyers and involved in the real estate market, we get asked all the time.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's so hot. Is it ever going to crash? Is it going to correct itself? Blah, blah, blah. You know, as lawyers, we hear that nonstop every day. So in comic books, you know, in sports cars, apparently the correction is coming and is starting there. And in comics, they've been jumping a lot in the last couple of years because everybody's been collecting everything humanly possible because they can't travel, they can't go out to restaurants, they're just buying up stuff like no tomorrow, cars, watches. So tell me, my friend, how is the comic book market doing right now? And do you see any changes and shifts there?
I think the comic book market is in a bit of a revolution, and it's kind of a torn market because a lot of people are looking for the older stuff, right? That's the rare stuff, the first appearance stuff, all these characters that are being in movies now. You know, people are going back and looking for those books. Naturally, you know, if you know, all of the characters, they're still printing new like there's new books every single month that come out for, you know, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, X-Men, you know, you name it. The new books are probably a lot less valuable. The print runs on those new books are not as what they were in the 90s when they just would print, you know, when Todd McFarlane was drawing Spider-Man. And he again reinvigorated Spider-Man. He was the top artist at the time. Marvel gave him Spider-Man to do, and they would print a bazillion copies of any Todd McFarlane book, right?
Right.
So they're valuable, but the print runs are so high that everybody's got a copy, right? So, you know, there's a market for the old stuff, and again, it's old dudes like me and you that have some disposable income.
Speak for yourself, bro. I'm getting younger. I don't know what you're talking about. Jeez.
Well, you know, listen, I want to say I don't feel old, so you know, but we're the guys that go back and buy the good old stuff.
Absolutely.
So that market is hot.
And that being said, one of the things you raised, because I ain't touching it with a 10-foot pole, but I want to know if you're investing in them and NFTs. You involved at all, or what's the story there?
I'm learning more about it, man, and I think it's hilarious because, you know, you just talked about, you know, stuff, right? You're a minimalist, you know, if you know you don't buy stuff to collect anymore, you don't have physical stuff. And that's what NFTs are, right? NFTs are all about, hey man, give me a blockchain secured digital something, and I'm gonna pay money for it. And NFTs are kind of interesting because you can day trade in these things. You need to be on the whitelist to get, to get in on one. Some, and to be frank, if you're a sports card collector, when they do a card that's, one of 50, one of 200, one of 1,000, those cards are worth a lot of money.
Sure.
And that's how they're doing NFTs, right? They're doing one of 50, one of 10, one of one. And you're the only guy in the world that owns this digital blockchain secured NFT. It sits in your digital wallet. And some other guy is going to buy that from you for, you pay 0.03 E for it. And some dude's going to pay a 1.3 E. And look, it's a whole different market, a whole different genre. I'm not sure I'm there on it yet, but look, I bought a bunch of NBA, and the NBA during the All-Star game had dropped a whole bunch of NBA NFTs, and they're cheap. They're $3, $5. They're, when I say limited editions, they're like, 60,000 NFTs. So if you get on them, you buy a pack of these NFTs, you come 3 in a pack, you pay $20, and then, you probably lose value immediately because they're trading for like $3 each. But yeah, it's like, hey, well, it's $20. Let me buy a couple of these things. But it is the Wild West on that stuff. And if you're you can get in on some of them. Some of them are $2 million, man, $3 million. And then some of them, there's no market for. You buy it, nobody's buying it from you. So it's kind of like an ecosystem. Some of the guys that are releasing these NFTs, and mind you, everyone is going to be releasing NFTs. Nike, Major League Baseball, you name it, NFTs are coming. So wrap your head around what they are, whether they're going to be valuable or not, which are the ones that have a liquid market, which are the ones that you're going to just buy and never ever be able to sell again. Kind of like, those old Don Ross cards that, some fringe player that you're not going to, that's a 10-cent card.
Right.
It's the same way with NFTs.
I find it the funniest thing because I age myself when I talk to people, and I talk to the millennials about NFTs and Bitcoin and all the digital money. And I said,
yeah.
So you're buying, it's like taking a picture with your phone, or it's like doing like a sketch on your iPhone. And here we go. There's this one-on-one, me holding up a picture of my drink. Nobody else is going to have that picture, only you. So I'm going to give you a fake piece of memorabilia, and I'm paid with fake money. So I'm going to create this thing called money, and I'm just going to say it's got value. And so I'm going to give you $1 of my fake money for $1 for your fake value memorabilia. And it's like, I'm wrapping my head around it. And I'm like, how is this not a Ponzi pyramid scheme? Because at the end of the day, eventually people are going to put real money to buy this electric money, to buy this electric memorabilia. And it's just the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, just go buy stocks in companies, like you can own something real, or go buy those Off-Whites, please, just go buy this. Like, this is way better. At least I can hold this and this is real, instead of, I'll take a picture of my Off-White UNCs.
There's going to be an NFT of that shoe. Don't worry. You can probably pick up the NFT of that shoe when Nike releases it.
There's an NFT of my specific UNCs, and no one else is going to have it. And I want 10,000 Bitcoin. Like, it's just, again, it's like, awesome. All the power to people that want to do that. I'm not taking any of, after you pay taxes and everything, you're very little money left over, a lot of months, weeks, not putting it into that stuff. But for people who want to do it, by all means, good luck. Like, when even I look at the pictures behind you, if you got like a great moment in sports and somebody autographed it, to me, there's something to that, That's what I'm going to hang my hat on. But it's amazing where collecting has gone to that way, and they're looking for something, anything to crave, So even cards, comic books, that's more where I would head personally. But good luck to the collectors out there.
Yeah, good luck. I agree, and I think it's going to be, and we're in the middle of this, for the last 10 years with Bitcoin, and now the way NFTs and the metaverse as that is evolving and unrolling. And frankly, we're on the cusp of a lot of new things, and frankly, it's going to be the way things are. Like, there's a real legitimacy to crypto, to NFT. There's huge companies, huge industry based on this. It's not fully regulated yet. You're a lawyer. Regulation is coming. And let's be real, it won't be long, and frankly, the allure of crypto, is the fact that it's been deregulated and it's not controlled by government. It's not managed behind the scenes, where you pay transactional costs for this and that for that, and you don't understand where the value, nothing's all, there's not a gold standard anymore where everything was backed by gold sitting in Fort Knox somewhere, the US dollar, that stuff is not there. This is real, and this is get on board with this, because it's not going anywhere. This is where we will be transacting heavy duty in crypto. NFTs will be a thing. You'll be sitting with a virtual reality headset on for augmented reality or virtual reality to do your business meetings, to travel. That meta stuff is coming. It's already here.
Web 3.0.
Web 3.0. So honestly, saddle up, because the way you're going to do business is going to be very different 5 years from now.
I remember watching Avatar and saying, "Oh boy, this is where life is going to be headed." And that's exactly what it is. If you don't know what the heck we're talking about, go watch the movie Avatar, and that's what your life is going to be looking like. Science
fiction has become reality ever since Star Trek, and iPads and iPhones and streaming this and streaming that. Nobody, when CDs came out, we're like, oh my God, we could buy a physical CD and move away from analog cassette tapes and stuff. And then we started streaming in terms of, audio compression and video compression and lossless compression. And now we're going into a whole new world of human interaction and actual monetary economic value being digitized. Like we're here, man.
I have to apologize because the CDs, that was before my time, so not really sure what you're referring to exactly there, Will, but
should I say Blu-rays then? Should I say were Blu-rays?
VHS beta. So we're not going to let you get off the hook this easy. So we talked about a lot of collecting today, a lot of good times. To sum up, we're not going to forget about you, my friend. And but the people listening, they're like, man, this is a good looking guy. He looks jacked, sounds very successful. And he is. He's actually a really, really big deal, So I wanted to drop on Will and just discuss as far as, professional careers. It's amazing because, when you and I met, like you're saying, you were getting into in-house and I was starting off my law career. And I've stayed being in private practice, my whole life, whether working for a law firm or being a partner at a law firm. Looking back at yourself, so currently you are the director and assistant general counsel for McDonald's Canada. Before that, you were the general counsel for McDonald's Latin America.
That was in the middle of that, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then corporate counsel for Tim Hortons, and you were a partner in your own law firm for several years. So walk us through, my friend, when you were in private practice, the decision to go in-house and climbing up the corporate ranks, for the professionals in there, as far as if they're a lawyer, an accountant, how do you make that mindset shift and how have you found it?
Yeah, look, thanks for the question. And, a lot of kudos to you, because, you're doing what I did when I started, right? I was started my own firm with a bunch of folks, partners who didn't get hired back when we got a law school. We got called to the bar at a time when the economy was terrible. Interest rates were like, I think 15% articling jobs are not not easy to come by. And when we all got called, hireback was not a thing for me. And I was not a downtown Bay Street guy. I was always more of, a community lawyer. And I didn't want to sit around with a license to practice and not have a job. So, literally got called to the bar. I believe we got called to the bar in February. And by May, I had done a business plan. We rented office space. We set up a 4-lawyer shop. And I think by the second year of that, I was doing all the residential real estate with a clerk. I was doing all the corporate commercial stuff. And then my partners were litigators. So my partners at the time were doing civil lit, criminal, family, doing a lot of legal aid stuff. And residential real estate paid the bills, right? Like, that was monthly, and back then, yes. Again, I won't date myself. It was not automated, right? So registry closings were we had conveyancers that did title searches for us. They were looking at parcel registers with a ruler and a pencil and going through a 40-year title search. You know, we lined up to get execution certificates at the sheriff's office. We would pull a number at the Toronto registry office. I'd drive up to Newmarket, pull a number, and then you wait in line and exchange physical checks. Like, I mean, this is the old ways. And actually, you know, when TerraView came in and some of the automation came in, I was at that point beginning to phase out of my private practice. And I can tell you, I built my practice doing residential real estate. I have an affinity for what you're doing. When I look at your podcast and you guys are talking about, you know, condo declarations and your estoppel certificates, it just takes me back to the day when I was doing the same stuff.
My partner David Corman, his podcast David and David on real estate, which is also featured on our Corman's YouTube channel. Absolutely, they're doing great work over there talking about real estate, and it takes you back, eh?
Oh man, for sure. And you know, it was kind of the Wild West back then. But you know, same issues, right? The law hasn't changed that much, just the way your practice has changed. But I did that for about 7 years. And, you know, around 2000, 2001, I was looking for something different. I think I had maxed out my time in private practice. I have a degree in economics. I've always been more of a business lawyer. And I wanted to go from sort of this community legal practice, you know, small to medium sized clients. And I wanted to see what the other side was. I wanted to see big business, big global business. I thought that was missing in terms of my experience. You know, at that time, I was probably like an 8 to 10 year call. Okay. And I went I left my practice. I went in-house with a client of mine at the time, and I had started doing a lot of technology law around 2001. Okay. And my client was a startup.com company. I went in-house with them for 2 years, didn't make a dime, but it was awesome. we did business plans, we did venture capital, elevator pitches, we raised funds, and the whole point was to IPO. We wanted to IPO this business, created a bunch of cool, fintech stuff that we thought was awesome, and had it all ready to go, had funding, everything. And then the market crashed and everything dried up. And I found myself, we couldn't sell anything. But it was a great experience for 2 years. And I had a choice. I was like, either go back to my private practice or keep this in-house experience, this business experience, and sort of keep going. And I was fortunate enough to apply to Tim Hortons, who was looking for corporate counsel at the time.
Yes.
And I landed at Tim's, and I was there for 3 years. And that's when, I met you, and I met some really amazing people who have had influences on my career.
And you and I met some amazing people.
Yeah, we got stories that we can't tell on air.
No, we cannot.
But it was such a great time with some amazing people that we met. And then after 3 years at Tim's, McDonald's called me, and kind of the rest is history. I'm still there. It's been I'm into my 18th year at McDonald's, and who knows what's on the horizon. The only thing I can tell you is I never planned my career. Your career just kind of, I thought, John, I'd be what you're doing. I thought, okay, here I'm starting up my practice. I'm going to be in this law firm. We're going to grow the law firm, hire associates. I'm going to become, expand stuff, 20 lawyer firm. That was kind of the vision. Never would have told you I'd be, assistant general counsel at McDonald's Canada. Had, fortunate enough to have, I'm on the board of directors for a Ronald McDonald House, which I love, and his charity. That's amazing. It does amazing work. I've had amazing global experience with an amazing brand, and just met amazing people who have influenced me, who mentor me, who have impacted my career. And you just never know where your career will end up. So, my advice is, hey, do what you're doing. Look, did you foresee the Chosen podcast? Did you foresee the Chosen Lawyer? No. And now look at you. You're amazing, dude. You're an inspiration to even me, because you're doing something you're passionate about. And you could tell the joy you have about the Chosen podcast, the Chosen life, the Chosen life. And I love it, because this is where you inspire people. You inspire people by doing what you love every day. It may not be, your career is your career. But when you find something to do with passion, you're always going to be successful, man. So I give you a lot of kudos for doing what you're doing, and you're going to blow up. You're blowing up right now, and I'm happy to be one of the early guys, a no-name guy on one of your podcasts, brother. So keep it going.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, from the world of business and life, you're certainly not a no-name, buddy. Like in the legal community and in the business community, you're very well known. You can see that on LinkedIn and all the appearances you make. But it's funny, you stole my segue, because I was going to say, when you graduated from law school, if you could see your life today, could you have ever imagined that? And what advice you would have given your younger self? But it's funny because when you say that to me, I exactly saw this. Yes. When I was graduating from law school, if you said, this is what life would look like, I would say I absolutely see that. I envisioned doing the real estate thing. I envisioned, as far as being a partner in a law firm, doing something creativity. I thought it'd be as a writer, because I was really always big in writing, and I was big in the MLB Reports days when I was running MLB Reports.
I remember.
And this is really what MLB Reports was 10 years ago, except in podcast form. It's the same formula. It's funny, but I learned from my 20-year-old self to where I am today, is you can't do everything yourself. You have to have a team in place. You got to have the support. Otherwise, you can't do it. You're going to burn out real quick, and it's not going to happen. And I do that professionally in law. I do that professionally in the podcast.
Yeah.
So I see the difference there. But absolutely, I did see this end game as far as where I'd be at this point. I just didn't think the journey would be like this to get there.
Exactly.
I thought it'd be more direct.
Yeah, linear.
Right. I felt for myself like Bay Street, successful in my early 20s. I burnt out too quickly. It was just like, like a first round draft pick, when they come to baseball or hockey,
sure.
Like Alexander Daig. I understand Alexander Daig's thing. When you come in, you're highly touted and everything else. Yeah. And it's just too much too soon. It's not so easy sometimes. And sometimes you got to go to the minors and you got to work your way up. And, every success story, Will, I've ever read, as far as government leaders, world leaders, business leaders, CFOs, CEOs, a lot of them have something very important in common. They all at some point got broken down, and they all came back up, and they all, and they had to grind it out, work hard for it. Nothing got handed to them, because it's one thing to get there. It's another thing to stay there. And most people have a very hard time staying there. So you have to experience all walks of life to understand. If it comes too easy to you and it gets handed to you, it's too easy to break it down. When you can end up in the gutter in a moment, you'll never stop working hard. You'll never stop driving towards it. And for me, like, I love the Chosen Life podcast. We're actually going to be taping as well. Excited to announce that there'll be a new documentary series called The Chosen Journey with our good friend Steve Carsey. He's coming on board, ex-Blue Jay, Oakland A, Yankee, amazing dude. And we're going to be doing week to week a docuseries with Mr. Steve Carsey called The Chosen Journey. And it's basically going to be Steve Carsey's baseball journey life and inspiring others to find their life journeys. So between Chosen Life, The Chosen Journey, I also am producing the David and David on Real Estate podcast. So they keep me really busy, plus running a law firm, So
how do you find time, brother? How do you find time? That's amazing.
And I work out and I cook. You know what? That's why I tell people, if you got a 9-to-5 job, and nothing wrong with that, but like, you tell me I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that. Well, try walking a week in my shoes and see how you like it. I think you'll be like, I think I got the time to do this now. It's Dan Milstein, the hockey agent, was on, and I believe he said it's not a lack of time, it's a lack of priorities. That's all it is. You got to decide what's important to you in life. And Will, you've shown, man, like, you persevered. You could have stayed in private practice. You went in house. You didn't just, I'm gonna just, just go with it and just milk it and see how I can. No, you always work hard. You strove to go next level. I see you, and in all fairness, I remember you 20 years ago. You look younger today than you do 20 years ago, man. You got the energy in your life, and you got it in your face, and you're excited. And you're talking about, your positioning now at McDonald's Canada, and it goes to show you, work hard. You can succeed. You can look as good as Will, and you can work towards, sky's the limit for you, man. I know you're going to be doing great things, and it'll be great to see where you head, where we all head in life. And
absolutely,
if you're listening to this right now, work hard, make a game plan. If you got to change a plan, be ready to evolve, but don't ever give up. And if there's a door, then break down the door or go to the next door. But it can be done as long as you got the plan and the hard work. It will happen for you.
And dude, I am not done. Like, never stop, right? It's a never stop,
Never.
continuous journey of getting better, doing different things, being passionate. Yeah, I'm excited because, you know, I know there's a different future. I know there's things that I want to do that I haven't had the time to do. And yeah, I'm gonna do them. I'm looking forward to it. And again, you're an inspiration, John.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for being on the podcast today. I think this has been great. Love chatting with you, man.
Every time, man. You know, and it's funny, you know, I always tell people, like, you know, when you do hit certain accomplishments, like I was like, man, I hope I get 10,000 views one day on a clip. And then when I broke 100,000, I gotta tell you, it was so much sweeter, the journey getting there, than the accomplishment itself. And I can tell you at my age now, where I've been, when I look back at accomplishments, I savored the journey part of it, of getting there, more than I savored the accomplishment itself. When I get there, I learned I got to reward myself. I got to say, I got to acknowledge it, because then it'll make me work towards the next one. But life is not a series of accomplishments. It's just a series of journeys, and just keep finding your journey. Yeah. Last question for you, my friend, as we wrap up. First impression when you met me 20 years ago, what did you think of Jonathan Hakohen? Be honest. Let's hear it.
Dude, I knew you were built for success, man. Look, you had the work ethic, you had the desire. I could tell that you're passionate about the law and you wanted to learn. And you know, for me, anytime I meet any young lawyer, you know, in their articling first, second, third years of practice, I kind of just look for one thing. It's like, hey, you know, what are you trying to get better at? What do you want to learn? And you were a sponge, man. You listened, you know, you asked great questions, and you were observant. You know, you're not a blustery, like, well, you can be quiet, you can observe. And I admired that about you. And I thought you were always going to be successful. You could tell, man, you're going to be successful. You're a smart cookie, and you were a smart guy back then. And your career has evolved, not like I kind of saw it. I knew you would be a private practice guy, because you're an entrepreneur, you're a hustler. I could tell that. But you're also a skilled lawyer. And I saw that when I met you, that you just wanted to learn, and you wanted to get better, and you wanted to improve your skills. And now I think it's come to fruition, man. Look how long it's been. And you're a great partner. I only hear great things about you in the industry too. So kudos to you, man. I'm really proud of you.
I really appreciate that. You know, it's funny because I've had people ask me, you know, even my partner asked me, David, he's like, why are we doing a podcast that has nothing to do with law and real estate? and I said to him, you know, you got to remember, it's Jonathan, a chosen lawyer. And we talk about me being a lawyer a lot. And we bring people on from different walks of life. Like right now, like we're both lawyers. We're in the same community. We talk about real estate. It's funny how it just kind of seeps in, you know. But at the end of the day, I don't connect with people, with my clients, my referral sources. I don't connect with them because, hey, I'm a really great lawyer and I can close your transaction for you. It's, hey, I want to get to know you. What's your story? We connect on different things, whether it's I love shoes or exercise, fitness, whatever it is. And it's building that trust. And when you got those relationships and you got the trust, anybody can close a real estate transaction. Anybody can know the law. It's, do I like the person? Do I trust them? And do I want to work with them? And I'm being true to who I am. When we're doing this podcast, this is not a character I'm playing. Yeah. This is who I am. I love doing this. And people connect with me because I put the real, I expose myself out there, love me, hate me, whatever, but I'm being true to what I am. And at the end of the day, that builds relationships. So I appreciate you saying that, man. And would you have thought 20 years ago that we would be sitting here doing this podcast together? Would you have imagined that?
I can't say I would have imagined it, but looking back, I'm like, yeah, I could see this happening. I could see this happening. So this is amazing. This is amazing, brother.
I appreciate that. But Will, honestly, I know you're a real busy guy, you know, lays out there. Sorry, he's taken, but he's a great dude, honestly, and great business leader. And you know what, you've been an inspiration to me as well as a young lawyer growing up. And, you know, you were always available for a phone call and, you know, gave me direction. And dude, you know, we fed off each other. You know, at the end of the day, you rise when you put positive energy out there, expecting nothing in return. Right. You receive that positive energy back. You and I always had positive energy exchange that way. And, you know, it's people that us that, you know, then look to the younger generation, professionals that be young lawyers, accountants, whoever they are, and keep giving back that energy. So let's keep spreading positivity out there. Let's keep making this happen. Let's help people find their chosen life.
Love it. John, you nailed it, buddy.
Thanks for taking the time for us today, Will. It's been an ultra pleasure. And when we do our sign off, we put the arm flex. Let's do it, man. Keep living the chosen life.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
man.
Wait a minute. Are we still running? Well, I know you already hit the subscribe button, the like button to say how much you love this episode, and the notification bell so you get notified of all our future episodes. But you still feel like you want more. Well, when you're ready to contact the chosen lawyers at Kormans LLP, we are here to help you. Whether you're looking to close a real estate transaction, a refinance, a corporate commercial matter like a lease, a shareholder agreement, an incorporation, you need a will or power of attorney prepared, a family law matter comes up, contact the chosen lawyers. We are here for you. So how do you get in touch with us? It's really simple. You go onto our website, go to kormans.ca, that's KORMANS.ca, fill out the contact form, and a chosen lawyer will get in touch with you. So it's very easy. We look forward to seeing you very soon. And thank you very much for watching The Chosen Life. We'll see you back very shortly.